Hi friends, my name is Nikki and I am the host of Source Clarity. Source Clarity is a way for us to harness the highest of highs clarity, and when you harness high levels of clarity, you tap into your true nature or who you really are, and your true nature is unconditional love. Your true nature is the version of you that has attracted all the things that you want. So when you harness high levels of source clarity, you are tapped into your inherent high level loves, your inherent high level love and loves, like your inherent high level interest, your inherent high level joy, your inherent high level intelligence and brilliance. When we harness high levels of source clarity, we're living life now guided by our purpose. The mind is filled with noise. The mind is filled with doubt, fear, negativity, so on and so forth. And so source clarity is a way for us to distance ourselves from that congestion within the mind and align with our purpose, our mission, or what we could call our destiny. And today we're going to focus in on one of the ways to begin the process of aligning with your destiny, the thing that was instilled by you by the highest of highs, the thing that was instilled in you by source energy, and something that only you can fulfill. That is right. When you develop your intuition, you will see. And a lot of you, look, we all have intuition, but intuition is something that we can harness and develop like a language, right? We can all speak, but it requires us to learn about a certain language in order to, learn the language or say the language, right? So everyone's like, Nikki, learn English. So intuition is the same thing. It is the language of light. And when you develop your intuition, access your intuition, you'll look in and see that we all have a destiny, something that was instilled in us by Source, the all that is. And when we live out that destiny with intention, we intentionally live out the destiny that was instilled in us by Source, the all that is. We're going after the things that we truly desire to go after. So the life experience becomes significantly more fulfilling. You know those feelings where we feel like this lack of motivation in life, we feel tethered to negativity, fear, constantly stuck. That is what it's like when we're not living out that destiny, or I should say intentionally living out that destiny or pursuing that destiny, taking that Maya. We call Maya Messian-aligned action in this community, that Maya in the direction of your destiny. And when you live out your destiny, man, it's a beautiful thing. Or pursue your destiny. Activate your destiny. Destiny. We're saying that word. It's a great word. That is the version of you that has attracted financial abundance. That is the version of you that has attracted your dream romantic relationship. So if you're wondering, how do I begin this process of living out my dream life? Well, those are filler words. Your dream life, your destiny, they go hand in hand. And you can accelerate your success in attracting that dream life, realizing your dream life. And I want to help you begin that process. I spent a lot of my life feeling like my inner world or my imagination, and not the good aspects of my imagination and the fun aspects of my imagination, but like the negativity within my mind and the worry and the caring about what other people think. I spent a lot of years, a lot of my life, more focused on my internal reality instead of the things that were actually happening outside of me and the positive sort of emotion that I could elicit and things of that nature. So once again, I want to help you today harness that high level of source clarity to align deeper with your destiny. Now, one of the greatest ways to begin aligning with your destiny, okay, is to begin creating space in your life. And that's what I want to begin to focus in on today. Now, I want you to think about what comes to mind when you hear the word space. What comes to mind when you hear the word space? I remember I was out in this coffee shop and I was designing Source Clarity. This was like when Source Clarity, I freshly channeled Source Clarity for this business and for the podcast and all these other spaces that we have. And I was like, what is Source Clarity? And I had a list of these different words. Source Clarity is balance. It's emotional clarity. It's mental clarity. And I have this list. I think I put it out on social media. It is, what else did I put on there? Organization is on there. There's all these different words that represent, that capture the essence of what Source Clarity is. And one of my favorite words on that list is space. I love the word space. Now, space, you could define it as absence of clarity. Now, to create space, Space is the act of creating clarity. So let's redefine that. Space is the act of accessing clarity. The opposite of clarity, we're here. The opposite of space could be defined as clutter, congestion, resistance. So to create space is to distance yourself for what no longer serves you. So if we were to define space, it could be to distance yourself from what no longer serves you. Now, a lot of you listening to this, you're going, okay, this sounds kind of cool, but a little bit vague. What do you mean, Nikki? To create space in our lives will align us deeper with our destiny. Well, when you create space in your life, you're not just creating space in one area of your life. A lot of people don't even realize that we have actually 8 different areas of our life. Now, if you're a listener of this podcast, you know this, but we have 8 different areas of our life. And each of those 8 areas requires our love, requires our attention, and requires us to continue to create space. But I just want you to think for a second. That time when your room was all messy, it was filled with clutter, and you organized it and you created space that way, and maybe you felt good. But then there's those times where we clean our room and we're actually getting rid of things, okay? We're getting rid of what no longer serves us. We're going in the closet and we're looking at the clothes that we haven't worn for years, but somehow, for some reason, we're still attached to those pieces of clothing. The question is why, right? Why? And what does it do when we actually let go of it? When we create space, we're actually creating more room for abundance. And I want you to think about how you felt when you created space in your bedroom, okay? And what I mean by that, you can fill in that word with clarity or cleaned, right? When you cleaned out your room, you created more space in your bedroom. How did you feel? Did you feel a little bit better? Well, how you feel, one of the things that generates our energy is our environment. So when you clean your space, you're gonna feel that higher level of clarity. What did we talk about in the beginning of this, right? When we harness high levels of clarity, source clarity, we tap deeper into our essence. When we're more connected with our essence, we're more connected with unconditional love because your essence is unconditional love. When you're more connected with that unconditional love, you're now emanating a frequency and a vibration, one that is of love, right? You're increasing your frequency and vibration. Now the things that you begin to attract in your life are more in accordance with love. The relationships that you begin to attract, more in accordance with love. And yes, this is a ripple effect. This goes all the way back to something like cleaning out the space in your bedroom, okay? But I want you to think about this space word in regards to all areas of your life, okay? You can reverse that thought and ask yourself this question: where do I currently have things that no longer serve me, that I am still tethered to for whatever the reason? Now, why do we hold on to clothing that no longer serves us? Why do we hold on to friends that no longer serves us? Because there's an aspect of our psyche that is tethered to this lack mindset. We don't feel abundant. All of life is a reflection of our energy. All of life is reflecting our energy. So when we're holding on to things that no longer serve us, we are holding on to lack. And again, we are carrying that frequency and vibration, and we're going to attract more obstacles, more things to reflect that annoying reflection back to us that are going to remind us that we feel a lack of abundance. But when you let go physically, like literally cleaning out your closet, right? A lot of you are like, wait, this is really where you're going with this today? Like, aligning with your destiny is creating space like in your room, creating space in your car. Absolutely. But also, this has to do with other areas of life. I want you to think about your social life. When is the last time you created space in your social life? Maybe there are people in your life that no longer serve you, that you need to create distance from. Ready? Distance from what no longer serves you, if that's how we're going to define space today. There are people in your life that you need to create space between for the betterment of your life and the betterment of them. But there are these emotional imbalances, and it causes you to feel like you have an emotional dependency on them, whatever it may be. So the question is, how can you begin to create space? Maybe there are people in your life that do serve you, but you need to create a little more structure around your relationship, a little bit more space. Maybe they stay in your life. You need to create more space. Think about family members Okay, think about the family members that you haven't created space between because there's these emotional imbalances that you have. It causes you to worry. It causes you to have these fears and these doubts. And now you're making decisions not because they're intuitive, but because of that emotional imbalance, because of fear. And now you have lack of space. Okay, what did we learn in school? Energy, it's not created nor destroyed. So when you create space, you're now inviting space for something new, more abundant, and things of that nature. I want you to think about something like a business. This morning, right? This rising, I was in a coffee shop and I was creating more space within my business, right? Creating space within the physical body, right? Think about how healthy it is to actually fast and give your body some space. So many of us, we forget to create space in our lives. We forget to create space within the physical form. We forget to create space within our own minds. We forget to create space between the different relationships in our life, whether we're meant to totally distance ourselves from a person or just create a little bit of space, a little bit of structure. A lot of us forget to create space in our physical spaces, like our car, like our homes, like our bedrooms, whatever it may be. Think about the space on your technology. And what begins to happen when we don't create space in our lives is that the mind is going to feel congested. The mind is going to feel, you're going to have these thoughts of second guessing, these thoughts of resistance. The other day I was cutting, what was I cutting? I was cutting like a sausage or something, some sort of meat. And all of a sudden the knife went into my finger. Okay, let's see. I probably can't really see it that much anymore. We're good now. That's great. It's blurry. You can't even see it. Okay, you can't even see it. But the knife went into my finger. Starts bleeding everywhere. I get a towel. I wrap it around. Everything's fine. But if all of life is a reflection of our energy, I was looking in intuitively and I was asking myself this question: how did I create this? Because again, if all of life is reflecting our energy, that means all the adversity and all the reflections, all the adversity and all the obstacles that we have in our life are simply reflecting how we feel about the self. It's reflecting an emotional imbalance in regards to a certain area of our life. And you could say that it's reflecting a lack of space in a certain area of our life. And so I looked in intuitively and I saw that in that moment, I was thinking of finances in this investment, this bigger investment that I have been feeling a little pulled to make intuitively. And I had a little bit of trepidation in regards to making this bigger investment. And so I was overthinking. I had this congestion. I had this resistance within my mind in that moment. And it allowed me to feel tense. And through that tensity, I poked the finger. Now, everything in life is representative of some sort of energy or some sort of thing. So all aspects of the physical body, they're reflecting something. So the ring finger has to do with promises kept or commitment made. It has to do with love and things of that nature. Fingers, and especially the tip of the finger, has to do with the details of life. And so this was reflecting my resistance in regards to feeling love for making this investment and really getting clear on the specific details. I can understand the bigger picture of this investment, but it was a frustration in regards to the details and how I'd have to go about it, so on and so forth. And so it's great. I mean, like when you have these reflections, you can look in, but ultimately it was reflecting a lack of space within my own mind that I had in regards to my finances. And so when we have lack of space in our life, again, it just creates more obstacles. It creates more burdens. I want you to think of any obstacle that you might be experiencing in your life. Is it really the obstacle that you're experiencing in your life, or is it you frequently focused on the negativity associated with that obstacle within the mind? Okay? Is it you having a lack of space within your mind? Think of your brain as a bedroom, okay? Now, in this bedroom, let's say it's your sanctuary. Let's say you bring a friend into that bedroom and you're like, okay, I really love this friend. They're totally cool in this bedroom. And that friend that you love is representative of a positive thought. So if we're comparing the brain to your bedroom, okay, that friend is a positive thought. And now let's say there's plants in your room and that's more positive thoughts. Let's say you like your sheets. Those are positive thoughts. And then you bring in another friend that's a positive thought. Would you want to bring in a human being that's toxic, or a garbage bag into that room? What would happen if you kept bringing things into that room? Even if they were like more good people, the brain would feel overcrowded. You would begin to feel overcrowded. You might get a little bit anxiety. You might get overwhelmed, so on and so forth. And that would create more obstacles in your life. Your brain is no different. It requires high level space. And when you have that space in your life, you give yourself an opportunity to objectively look at your life. You give yourself an opportunity to objectively look at your life and organize your life in a way that you would like to organize your life. Because a part of creating space is to organize the different areas of your life. Whether it be in regards to your diet. Does your diet need a little bit of space? Do you need to pull back, let go of what no longer serves you? Give that your diet a little bit of space, and now you can organize intuitively what your physical body is pulled to eat, right? Your workout plan, do you need to give it a little bit of space? So the more that we create space in our lives, the more that we align with clarity, the more we align with the unconditional love that resides within us, and the more we create love in our lives. And so what I want you to take and extract from this episode is thinking about where you feel clutter. Where do you feel clutter? And I want you to go all areas of your life. Do you feel clutter in regards to the things that are in your car? Do you feel clutter in regards to the things that are in your bedroom? Do you feel cluttered with your social life? Do you feel cluttered with your thoughts? And the follow-up question is simply this, okay? I'm going to challenge each of you listening or watching this episode. How can you begin to create space? So if there's clutter within your mind, I'm going to let you answer that question. How would you begin to create space within your own mind? Meditation. Meditation allows you to create that space within the mind and tap into who you really are, right? You can meditate. You can engage with breath work, right? You can work out the physical body, and that'll help you with your own brain. Okay? If there is clutter in regards to maybe your dynamic with your family, how can you create space? Remember, space is distancing yourself from what no longer serves you. Can you not answer every single phone call? Maybe your family is calling you all the time about some drama, so on and so forth. Can you put the phone down for a second, okay, and go on a walk, right? Maybe there is lack of space in regards to your engagement with social media. Are you scrolling on social media all the time? Is there a lack of space there? Can you put down social media? Can you create specific boundaries? Now, the brain, neuroscience has shown that the brain likes specific direction. So if you say things and you generalize and you go, okay, I'm going to just do less social media, the brain doesn't really know what to do with that. It's not a clear intention. But if you give specific direction, like I am not going to get on my phone till 10 a.m. in the morning, meaning you get up at 8 a.m., you're not going to be on social media till 10 a.m. The brain likes that. That gives you space. You distance yourself from that social media a couple hours in the morning. That you distance yourself what no longer serves you. This is massive in aligning with the thing that you were built to do in this world, because what you were built to do in this world, your destiny requires your attention, requires your focus. And when the mind is cluttered with what no longer serves you, when your physical space is cluttered with what no longer serves you, it is a distraction from your destiny. It slows down the progression from you to get to A to B, from you to get from where you are now to where you desire to be. So many of us, we are carrying emotional things, mental things, physical things, spiritual things that no longer serve us, yet we have an attachment to them. I remember when I was staying with my parents for about a year around COVID. I was in Los Angeles for about 4 or 5 years, and it was great, and then COVID hit, and I thought I'd be home for a couple of weeks, and it turned out to be a little bit longer, okay? And because the world kept closing down, I was like, I'm going to move home and then go back to Los Angeles, and I'll find an apartment. And it just worked out that I got to be with my family at that time, and I'm so grateful. But I was there, and I'm like, there's a lot of things in this house that were in this house when I was like 10. There's a lot of things in this house that no longer serve us. And I'm like, I'd like to create some space in this house. So I painted, I think, a bedroom. And then we got rid of things in that bedroom. And a lot of things, I joke with my mom all the time, a lot of those things my mom really wanted to hold on to, but she did a pretty good job at, Mom, let's get rid of this. We don't need it. It no longer serves us. It can go to someone that it will serve them. And we would get rid of things. I'd paint a room. And guess what would happen when we would get rid of things? we'd get new things. It would brighten up the room. And then I painted another room. And then we did the same thing, got rid of what no longer serves us. I painted the balcony, painted the bathroom. And I just ended up painting the entire house. I took all the cabinets off of their kitchen, sanded them down, painted them, got rid of the appliances that no longer serve them, creating space. And all of a sudden, the energy in the house is beginning to feel better. Now, my parents' house always energetically has felt great. It's a house filled with so much love. But we begin to actually increase the frequency and vibration of that love. These projects that we are invested in, these DIY projects that I got to just paint literally the entire house. Now, what was interesting about this is that when I saw it in my mind's eye, how I'd go about my paint job or whatever it may be, I'd be excited about it. And there were times during, if I did too many like rooms I think there was a day I did like 3 rooms at once. You could actually see my angry paint strokes. It was like the last room I ever did is in the laundry room. I didn't prep the laundry room and then whatever. It was a pain in my butt, but that's besides the point. Creating the space, messy, very messy, right? Having to go in the family room where my parents like to hang out and there's the kitchen attached to the family room and I had to like cover it all, right, with these like plastic things so the paint doesn't get everywhere, do all the tape, prep, do all these things, go to the store, get the paint, it's messy. I had to move the couch in, move the chairs in, make sure, whatever, it's messy. And it was cool. Like I liked painting, but there'd be times while I was painting when it was frustrating, okay? So I want to pause here because I want you to think about your own life when you begin creating space in your own life. Creating space and distancing yourself from what no longer serves you, from a person, from people, right? Or the clutter in your mind. How frustrating can it be to meditate? How frustrating can it be to clean up your laptop, to clean up your room? There is going to be a little moment that is a little bit frustrating when you are letting go of what no longer serves you, but the reward lasts 100 times, if not more, than that small amount of frustration. Anytime I would get frustrated in regards to the DIY project that I was currently working on at my parents' house, I would just think about the long-term benefits. I'm like, this is going to be like, for as long as they desire to have it, like this paint is going to be fresh. Like we had scratches in the kitchen that were there from when I was a little kid. And I'm like, let's just repaint this. So I had to like, again, undrill every cabinet, sand each and every single cabinet down, all the doors, whatever it may be. I had to repaint. I love my mom, but she gave me the wrong paint because she wanted all the doors in the house to glow. And one of the most annoying things to paint were the doors because you're not just like juice up and down. It's got all these details on it. And my sweet, loving mother, who I love, I experienced a reflection, I'll say, where my mom, this is a really great sort of side note to say this was a reflection of my lack of space within my own mind. So I'm experiencing this frustration at one point during painting. And my mom goes, I gave you the wrong paint. I want these. I had a specific like glow white, like it just shined, like a shine. Okay. Like a shining white. And I had to redo all the paint, and that was reflecting my lack of space within my mind, my lack of clarity within my mind, my lack of balance that was happening in my life. And so this is just showing you, I want to show you guys, but when we cleaned up the house, I mean, their house was already clean, but like upgraded certain aspects of the house that were pulled to upgrade, we created space. We let go of what no longer serves us, and now we created space for the new. And that new, it's typically going to be abundant when you set the intention for it to be abundance. When you let go of what no longer serves you, energy is neither created nor destroyed. So something has to fill in the gaps. Something has to fill in the gaps. And when you let go of that person in your life, okay, we're going through all the different areas of our life. You let go of that person in your life that no longer serves you, the universe is going to bring you someone that is now in accordance with that higher frequency and vibration. But you're going, Nikki, how can I be sure it's someone better? Because in that moment, you're realizing your value. You're realizing what you deserve. And when you embody that and you let go of what no longer serves you, you've now created space to attract someone that's incredible. And you can think in regards to finances. How many of us don't have space in regards to our finances? Maybe, again, it is within the mind. We're constantly thinking about money, 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 money. or you haven't organized your finances. You haven't created that space with your money. It's just messy when you think in regards to your financial life, whether you're financially abundant or not. I don't give a shit. You feel messy. So the question is, how can you begin to create space? And this is the thought process that I want you to have throughout this week. I want you to think about the first area of life that comes to mind when you think lack of space. Again, sometimes relationships don't require, sometimes relationships are, okay. There are relationships in your life that sometimes they serve you, but still need a little bit of space, that still need a little bit of organization, a little bit of structure, so that you two aren't just like, I remember I was living out in LA and the first 2 weeks were great. They were so fun. And all of a sudden I'm like hanging out with this social group I was hanging out with after like 12 days. And I'm like, this isn't fun anymore. I need space. And it wasn't that some of them weren't meant to not be in my life anymore, but I needed a little bit of space. And this is how you tap back into your core essence. The other day, I was just walking out in nature because Nikki needed a little bit of space from frequently focusing on all the tasks that Nikki has. Thankfully, Nikki has a busy schedule. I love a lot of aspects of my busy schedule, right? But, right, that lack of space was creating more resistance within my mind, a little bit of congestion. So I just went out in nature and walked out in nature and created space physically. Like I actually physically went and created space. My own mind reaped the benefits of that, so on and so forth. And so when you create space in your life, in regards to all areas of your life, again, the life experience becomes significantly more fulfilling. You create space, you create clarity. And when you create that heart and brain coherence, you begin to create a coherent electromagnetic field, and the things that you begin to attract are more in accordance with that coherence in your life. Okay, so many of us are like, where do I even begin to create space in my life? Start with one, and then see how you feel, right? Like I'm so excited for all of you that are listening to this episode, because I'm like, you creating space in your life, like you will feel the benefits if you literally go clean your car. You literally go create space within. Again, space is cleanliness. Space is clarity. Space is organization. This all creates space. Meditation organizes your thoughts a little bit because you can see them. You can observe them. One of the greatest things that we can ever do for ourselves is to intentionally give ourselves space. The universe is for you. We think that the universe is against us because we are tethered to the craziness in our own lives. But when we create space in our lives, man, that is where the goodness resides. And that is how you begin aligning with your destiny, the thing that you are meant to do in this world. Your destiny is something that only you can fulfill. And when you create that space, you align with who you really are, and now you're living life guided by your intuitive self, not the overwhelmed self, not the version of you that feels messy, not the messy. Well, I like the messiness. We want to learn to love the messiness, but where life feels messy self, you're not living life influenced by it. You're now living life guided by your true nature, the greatest North Star that you have in this world, your intuition. And so when you give yourself more space, you align with your destiny. So this is your sign that you have a destiny, you have a mission, you have a purpose on this planet, but you are the creator of your reality. Source cannot get in the way of your free will. That would be breaking the rules. And when you intentionally create space in your life, in the different areas of your life, you create more abundance. You create room for the new. So think about what no longer serves you. See how you can distance yourself from it. And now you're inviting opportunity for things that serve you. You're inviting more abundance. You're inviting more of what serves you. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Source Clarity. We have the most incredible, brilliant, beautiful community. Once again, I want you to think about how you can begin creating that space in your life this week. We're going to be back next Saturday for another episode. And alrighty, friends, thank you so much, and stay awesome and authentic. Peace.